So we got our running backs right here. Um, let's just jump right into it. So we're going to start off up top with, arguably the best running back, Najee Harris.
Yep, let's go ahead and launch in with him. So with Najee Harris, I absolutely love how big he is. Usually, I'm not a huge proponent of big running backs, but I'm going to be putting him in A, not in S.
I put him S. That was
Okay,
me.
okay. So love his size, and he actually has quite a good catching ability, which is rare for those bigger running backs. You don't really see like Derrick Henry, who's one of my comparisons for him, catching passes out of the backfield. So that's really cool because with how bruising he is, you just don't see those guys running
No, no,
routes
no.
as well as
It's
he does.
it's definitely a different kind of game, and they normally don't mix.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as negatives on Najee Harris, I think he lacks the truly elite speed to make him really good at the next level. And I don't think he's all that shifty. He makes up for that because he's gonna run through you. But there's a large difference between the tacklers at the college level and the tacklers at the NFL level. So if he's not quite as bruising as he was in college, I think his game's going to take a major hit because I just don't see that shiftiness developing out of nowhere. It's very much a one cut runner. He kind of reminds me, and this is the closer comparison of the two. So I said he was a little bit like Derrick Henry, but more like Matt Forte is what I see.
Okay.
So maybe he could achieve that level of success. And as far as landing spots for him, I do think he's going in the first for sure. And I think he's either going to go to Arizona because Arizona needs a running back, and that could be good because they got a lot of speed right now and get a bruiser in there. They don't have a lot of goal line guys right now. I mean, obviously they can throw it out to DeAndre Hopkins, but other than that, mostly small dudes. So having a nice bruiser would be awesome for them. And then also Miami would be really fun for him to reunite with Tua. And they need a bruiser back there. They need something.
No, 100%. See, that's a little bit where you and I differ from what I saw. Now, I get that he doesn't make a lot of cuts, but he makes a lot of good moves. Like he made a lot of good spin moves. He made a lot of good jukes, which I really liked, and that's kind of why I put him in S tier. Is because not only can he run you over and bruise you, but I did see a lot of spin moves and just people just like trying to grab him and then just like nope, no longer grabbing him because he's spun out of their grasp. Now that is going to be a little bit more difficult to do, obviously, in the NFL, but I feel like his game can translate very well because, like you said, he has really good hands. He can catch really well out of the backfield, and then is a bruiser out in mid space. I love that. I love that. Because that means he's going to be going up for balls. That means that he's going to get yards after the catch, which are all fantastic things from a quarterback or from a running back. Excuse me. But yeah, I think he is going to be the first running back taken, which is another reason why I have him in S. I think he goes in the top 15. Arizona, Miami both make perfect sense. I know I was talking earlier about James Conner to the Broncos. If the Broncos figure out their quarterback situation not through the draft, the Broncos could grab him.
At number 9, that would be really early.
That would be
I
really
don't, I
early,
don't, I
but
don't see
like,
him being as elite as some of those top 10 running backs, like where we've seen Zeke go and Christian McCaffrey. That's why I couldn't put him in S.
I mean,
He's not generational. That's my fear. Is that's a little early. Picking him in the latter half of the first round makes more sense for a non-generational running back with a little bit of knocks on his game.
that's fair, but I'm saying I think he could be the generational talent. Could. I'm not saying again, all of this is prospect. So, I could be 100% wrong and I'm willing about any of my picks. Any of them from now, previously, and into the future. If anything I ever say is wrong, I will be the first one to say, yeah, I was wrong. I messed up. But I do think he could be a generational talent. He's real. From what I saw, I really liked some of the things he did. Now he doesn't have that elite speed like you said, but he's a bruiser, and I like how he jukes. Now he like you said, he's not shifty. He doesn't do it a bunch of times, but a lot of times the one time he does it, like the one move he does, is enough to get him out in enough space to bruise people and get those
Yeah,
yards.
that's why I described him as a one cut. He's very much that first cut he makes is deadly, and then from there on,
No, exactly.
he ain't
Like
gonna be shifting anymore.
no, yeah, but I'm still saying that game can still translate to the NFL. Is it go
That's
it
true.
is he going to? I don't know. But I'm just saying I can see him going in the top in the top of the first round. Now, 9 is still pretty high, but I mean, hey, maybe if the Broncos figure out their QB situation, maybe they trade back with like the Patriots or somebody.
That's entirely possible. That
And,
could happen.
and then, Miami with their second pick grabs something else, and Arizona grabs something else. Because, I mean, all of those teams have needs other than running back. And he falls to 15, and then boom, Broncos grab him at 15.
Maybe
Again, it's all prospect. I
it's all
do,
speculation.
yeah. I do think Broncos are going to move up. I don't think they figure out their QB situation outside of the draft. I'm just saying if they do, I could see that happening because they still do need a running back, a very good one. But moving on to, I don't want to screw up this guy's last name, Travis Etienne.
I think it's Etienne. Yes, I
Etienne.
get pronunciations wrong all the time, but I don't think I'm wrong about his analysis.
Okay.
So I'm putting him above Najee Harris. He's going to be my first A slot. I think he's better. He's, in my opinion, easily the most well-rounded. No, it's still an A, but A1.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, oh, oh.
Still not generational to me, but he's better than Najee Harris. I think his game translates better. He has better speed, better cuts. He's more of an instinctual runner. Najee Harris is just going to run through whoever's in front of him, but Etienne sees everything, and I like that. Very quick feet, very intelligent runner. He needs to get better in blitz protection, but that's really the only knock I can put on his game overall. I was very close to putting him in S. He just still doesn't strike me quite as generational. Uh, but as far as NFL comparisons for him, I think he could be very much like Dalvin Cook at best, and then at worst, I think his floor is going to be like a Kenyon Drake. So I think he falls somewhere in that range.
Are you
I
saying
do think
Dalvin
not.
Cook isn't generational?
He is now, but he was not when he was a prospect. See, that's the difference.
Okay, okay.
We still saw him go in the second round. So
That's fair. That's fair.
as far as landing spots for him, I do think Najee Harris gets drafted before Etienne because I think NFL teams will think of it differently than me. But I do think he can still climb into the first, and places that I like is the Steelers in the first round if they want to do a luxury pick, which I don't think is the wisest thing, but
No.
I would like to see him go there. That would be pretty cool. Or even the Bills. The Bills want to make that offense really achieve next level. I think he can do that for them. As far as if he falls into the second, which is possible, I think the Bengals should snag him up at the beginning of the second round.
I mean that makes a lot of sense. I do like him to the Bengals because they need stuff. They need a lot of things, and running back would definitely help them. Take some pressure off Joe Burrow, having somebody like this. Now, the reason why I haven't put where I'm going to put him yet because I actually think the exact same as Joel, except for I am putting him in S tier.
Well,
I think Travis. I think he is insane. I I mean I so I'm saying as I know running backs don't get drafted normally that early in the draft. Like I know they don't normally go in the top of the first. So I don't think Travis is also going to go in the top of the first. I think he goes later in the first or in the second. But just from what I saw, for me, I had to put this man in S tier. Like, I loved what I saw. Slippery, shifting all the time. It almost like he shifts his body weight as well. And like you said, with that instinctiveness, and is able to make people miss that way. And it's just like, it just was so cool to see. And he also just keeps going. Like, he doesn't stop. Like, his feet are still moving, and he will move through defenders. And now, normally not power like Najee Harris, but like slippery, like moving like literally through them. And it was just so fun to watch some of his highlights and some of his reel. And I am really hyped on him. I think he's going to be a very good pickup for whoever grabs him, and that whoever that could grab him is somebody. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Um, I mean, I like the Steelers because they do need a another running back, but the Bills. You said the Bills. That's right. Yes, that made me think of something as well, because yes, the Bills need a running back like that. That would take their offense to a whole nother level, and I think them doing that alone in the first round, because I mean their offseason has been kind of quiet, but it's been good. Like, they've been re-signing people and keeping people. They've been very quiet, no splashy moves, but it's basically going to be the same Bills team next year. And if they get somebody like Travis,
They can really kick it up a notch.
yeah, like they might
And
be the
maybe we're
team to
talking
beat in the
about.
AFC. They might become the team to beat. And whoo,
So right now, that offense can't keep up with the Chiefs, but adding someone like him as another dimension, they can keep up with the Chiefs then.
sorry, that I don't know if anyone can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my dog. There's trash people grabbing trash. It's fine. We will be moving on. But yes, I like Travis a lot. I think him going to the Bills it makes so much sense. It just does, and it would be great for the Bills. Um, but continuing to Michael Carter, where do you got this guy? Where you got him?
I'm not a big fan of Michael Carter. I have him in C. I do think of the two, of his buddy Javonte Williams, who we're going to be talking about in a second, I do think Michael Carter carries the higher immediate upside because he was immediately productive when he was in college. So I think when he goes to the league, he's going to be out there making plays immediately. So he's still a good back. But I do think he will never be a running back one. He needs to be in a tandem. He's never going to lead the tandem. He's always going to be RB2, be the third down guy kind of thing. Uh, and in such a tandem, he could be really elite, but as the secondary option. Uh, he has good vision, but play to play, it's inconsistent. One play, he sees the field perfectly. Next play, he runs into a wall. Uh, he's not a great run blocker, but on the other side of things, he's very shifty. He's one of the more shiftier backs in this class, and I love his home run potential. Just watching him run sometimes, it's just crazy. As far as NFL comparisons, I see him as almost a Giovanni Bernard clone. That's what I see with him. As
Okay.
far as landing spots for him, I think he does go in round 2 or 3, and I think putting him on the Giants in round 2, pairing him with Saquon Barkley, alleviating some of that stress from Saquon Barkley, because I've always been a Saquon Barkley critic, not because he's on the Giants, but because of his injury issues. So alleviating some of that stress from Barkley and making it so he doesn't have to carry the full load anymore would be wise. And Michael Carter, with the far better running back in Saquon Barkley, could make him become elite. Maybe we even see with that kind of role a Devonta Freeman, Tevin Coleman thing when they were with the Falcons a couple years ago. Maybe they can create that kind of dynamic. Another landing spot for him that I like is the Jaguars in round
Okay.
3. Pairing him with James Robinson, because I really like James Robinson, but I don't think he's ever going to be like elite guy. I think he's always going to be stellar. And adding a guy for a tandem for them where James Robinson carries 15 times a game and Carter carries it 8 to 10, that's the money spot for me.
No, that I actually, so the Jaguars is what I was going to say. Personally, I'm putting him in B. It seems like we're almost mirrored so far. I'm just one tier above yours.
But
um, I guess we'll find out where we got Javante Williams next, but um, but yeah, I mean, everything you said basically. I like that he's fast, he's slippery, he makes really good cuts, and he's small but tough. Like he feels like he's tough, you know.
mhm,
But
he does have that mentality.
exactly. But like you said, he is working really well right now in a tandem in North Carolina, and I think he benefits a lot from that. Um, but I do like him a lot. I do think he's gonna go. He's probably gonna go in the round two. I say day two, so I mean, but he's probably going in round two. Um, and I think that's a very good spot for him. And going to a team like the Jaguars with Robinson, that tandem right there, I think would be insane. I think like again, like neither of them are going to be super elite, but it's going to be great, kind of like what the Ravens have. It kind of again,
Agreed.
not exactly because I don't know if you can copy the Ravens,
No, you can't.
but
Trevor Lawrence is no Lamar Jackson,
it, it,
but
exactly. But having a two-headed monster and then a mobile quarterback is still nice.
you could get close.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think that would be a very, very, very good thing for him and for the Jaguars. But talking about his counterpart, Javante Williams.
I'm a bigger fan of Javante Williams than I am of Michael Carter. I'm gonna put Javante Williams in B. He's a big back with excellent goal line potential. He can really punch it in down there. He's a downhill runner with great speed. Does lack some elite speed, but he does have good agility, unlike Najee Harris. I think he's more agile. He's still a one cut runner who is also surprisingly adept in the receiving game. He still needs to be in a tandem, but I think he can be the head of the tandem, unlike Carter. Uh, I think he still needs a little bit of time to develop, so maybe 1 or 2 years at the back end of the tandem, and then maybe he merges and becomes a running back one. That could happen. He's very young. He's only 21, so allowing him a couple years to develop is good, and he doesn't have as much tread on him at 21. Sometimes you
Yeah,
see the running backs coming in at 23, 24, and you know their career is only going to last 4 or 5 years. This guy could play for 7 or 8 years,
yeah.
and it'll be set. As far as his NFL comparisons, for me, I see maybe a bigger Mark Ingram
Okay.
or a Kareem Hunt. Those are my shots for him.
I like the Mark Ingram personally.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
that's
that's a very good um, comparison right there for Williams. Um, so we're kind of mirrored. We're mirrored in the way that we're ranking them all in the same way or in the same top to bottom. I'm putting him at the top of B. I'm not putting him in A. So it's still kind of funny. We have all of our running backs are ranked in the same order. You just have Williams and Carter in two different tiers, and I have them in the same tier. Um, but I like Williams. I like him a lot. He's a big dude. Like you said, he fantastic hands. Um, and another thing that I wrote down that I really like from him is that he can take a hit. He can take a hit and shrug it off and continue going. I love
he's
that.
compact. He's gonna get you the first down. He's gonna get to the goal line. He will always succeed at that.
Exactly, exactly. And so I really like him in that, and I still think he probably goes in the second round as well. I don't like. I think it could be a toss up between Williams and Carter, which one goes first in the second. But I do think that they both go in the second round, personally. Um, but that is
As
our
far as
running backs. I'm sorry.
wait, I gotta give my landing spots for Javonte Williams. I think he does go in round 2 for sure. Uh, I think he's going to go to either Atlanta.
Okay.
I think that would be an excellent pickup for them in round 2, especially if they manage to fill more needs, pick up more picks in the first round by trading back. And another spot is Arizona again. If they don't go running back in the first round, they need to
Okay.
pick a running back in one of the first 3 rounds, and I do think he's the second choice for them.
No, that is 100% fair. I could definitely see the Arizona Cardinals pulling the trigger on one of these guys in the second round. Um, sorry, prematurely was going to say that this is our tier list. But Joel did bring up a good point. Needed to say exactly where we thought they were going to go. Again, like I'm not 100% sure, just because the second round is kind of it's a big toss up to me. But obviously, like certain teams need things like the Arizona Cardinals. Um, my mouth is so dry, like the Arizona Cardinals. But let's continue on with offensive linemen. The people that make the blocks for these guys to be good. So we got my RRO line right here. There's a bevy of them. Okay, there's a lot to go through here. So let's just kick things off with Penny Sewell or Penny Sewell, however you pronounce it. I'm not 100% sure on which way it is.
Pronunciations are rough with these guys, and you hear it all over the place with the announcers too. We'll get it right at the next level when we hear the professionals saying it. But
Exactly. What's what? Because people in NBC and ABC, aren't going to be screwing up.
no, they're going to get it right. But moving on with Sewell, I love Sewell. I do have him in S tier. He's an absolute bruiser with elite size and speed for an offensive lineman. He's probably a top 10 talent in this draft. He should go in the top 10. Obviously, QBs and the wide receivers are kind of mixing it up, and he could land various places. But back to what I think of him, could be the next big left tackle in the league. He could be the next star left tackle if everything goes right for him. But if he does struggle, he can kick in and be an elite guard. He does offer that. So you can't really go wrong picking him if you're a team, because at worst you kick him into guard and now he's an elite guard with his measurables.
Exactly.
Um, the other big benefit for him, he's super young at only 19. He's going to play about half of this next season, I believe, at age 19. So he's got a long way to go. That kind of reminds me of Tyron Smith when he came in. Little rough around the edges when he came in, elite measurables, and then he just burst on the scene as he got a little bit older, and then he was just the guy. Uh, as far as negatives on him, there's not a whole lot to say. He does tend to play a bit wide. I did notice that, and he gets his hands out there, and guys can duck underneath him and go through him and allow him to get pushed back. But he can totally fix that with NFL offensive line coaches. Uh, but overall, he's not normally gonna get pushed back because he's generally gonna be stronger and better than any defensive lineman that he's facing. As far as comparisons for him, I see him as a Ronnie Stanley or a Taylor Lewan, like that second tier of left tackle. I don't think he ever quite achieves Tyron Smith level. He's going to be that second tier. But grabbing a guy like that, that's your left tackle for the next
No,
decade.
yeah. I
Most
mean,
important lineman.
easy
Okay.
franchise left tackle. Easy, easy,
Easy.
easy, easy, easy,
Yeah.
easy. Because also, I have a very interesting stat for him. Just real quick before you get to where you think he's going. I've got a very
Go for it.
interesting stat. His freshman year, he allowed 0 sacks on 926 snaps.
You just don't see that. You
That's
don't.
insane.
As basically a high schooler with how young he is, he went up to the college level at a major school, grant you, at Oregon against real teams, and he dominated. You just don't ever see that.
It was crazy. It was insane. I saw that stat and I was like, I have to write. I mean, I have to talk about this, right? Like that's insane.
Yeah,
But
but
continue.
his
Where do you think he's gonna go?
landing spots, he's definitely going at the top of the first round. Uh, he should go in the top 10, like I said. So I think maybe the Bengals pick him up. That would be the wisest decision for the Bengals, is to go ahead and snag him and shore up their O line and finally protect Joe Burrow. It may be even wiser than picking one of those generational wide receivers or Kyle Pitts. It's
Because Joe
probably the
Burrow
way they
just
should
got
go.
injured.
It's great and all if you have a great wide receiver, but if your quarterback is over on the bench because his knee's gone, doesn't really matter. But if he slides past the Bengals because they decide to go a different route, I could see him landing with the Panthers now because they don't need a QB anymore.
They don't.
Pick the best player available. And if he manages to slide all the way down, he's not sliding past the Chargers. The Chargers can pick him up to
Oh,
short for Justin Herbert because they're in a similar position.
oh
That
yeah,
would be
one
the way to
hundred
go for them.
percent. Yeah, yeah. If he slides out of the top 10, immediately, like but I don't see him slipping out of the top 10. I personally, I really see him either going to the Bengals or the Panthers now. Especially like you said, they got their QB. They don't need to draft. They don't need to draft one. Like when the Panthers were possibly going to draft a QB, and the Lions, and I thought the Lions weren't going to trade back. I could have maybe seen him getting out, because maybe the Lions, pick like some defensive talent that they can, you know, groom, or some wide receiver or whatever, right? A bevy of things that they could pick. I could have maybe seen him get out of the top 10, but now with the Panthers, I don't think he gets past the Panthers. If the Bengals and the Dolphins pass on him, I don't think the Bengals or the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers pass up on this guy. Like he is insane. He is the best lineman in my opinion in this draft. Period. I think there are some other linemen that can come up close to him because they might be a little bit more versatile. But me personally, I think he is top, and he's going to be the first one picked. I mean,
He's going to be the first one picked in all likelihood.
yeah,
But
um,
that brings us into the next guy. So I'm a little bit different than Lee.
yeah.
I think Rashawn Slater is the best lineman in this class. He's going in S tier. He's S number one. Uh, I could not get enough of watching Rashawn Slater on tape. Absolutely love his athleticism. He's stupid fast for an offensive lineman. He's all over the place. It's just he pancakes the first guy, he moves on the linebacker. All likelihood he's going to pancake him, remove him, and then he's out to the third level and blocking a corner or a safety. He's crazy. He has absolutely elite hands too. If his hands are on you, you're done. It's over. So you better hope that you can get them away from you or go around him or something. But that's even unlikely with how fast he is. Uh, he's not the elite strength, but his handwork is so elite that it doesn't really matter. He doesn't bulldoze all the time, but once again, his hands are on you, game over. Uh, I do believe he will get stronger at the next level once he's had some NFL coaching, NFL diets, all that stuff. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger, which could make him a better tackle. But I like it if we kick him inside the guard. If he can do that, he will immediately be one of the best guards in the league. My comparison for him is Zach Martin if he does get to play in at guard, and that's a lofty expectation for him because Zach Martin will, in all likelihood, will be a Hall of Famer. I know that's you can throw Cowboys bias on that or not, but go look up Zach Martin on tape.
No, no, no. Zach
You'll
Zach
change your
Zach
mind.
Zach Martin is insane. He's insane.
And the cool thing that reminded me and made me compare him to Zach Martin is how elite he can be when pulling. That's when he really gets to move on to the next level and show his elite speed. And sometimes he's faster than linebackers, and that's you just don't ever see that. If he has to play tackle, which I don't prefer, he can still become an elite tackle if he gets bigger and stronger. He gets a little bit better with his footwork. Uh, then I can see maybe more like Kelvin Beachum, so he's going to be mid-level tackle. But if you can
Sorry,
put him in at guard,
can you say that name again? You're like cutting
Kelvin
out.
Beachum, Kelvin Beachum.
Got it.
Uh, so that's a more mid-tier tackle. But if he's inside at guard, he will be the best lineman in this class. Feel free to disagree with me, but that's my opinion.
So I don't completely disagree with you. Now, so I kind of had two grades for Rashawn Slater, in my personal opinion. Now I'm going to put him in S tier. I'm going to put him right behind Sewell, but it's only because I think he almost has to go to guard because of the simple fact he doesn't have the reach to be a tackle. He doesn't have the arm length. His arm, during his pro day, his arms measured 33 inches.
It's pretty stubby.
Yeah, like that's not like I if he gets drafted as a tackle, I start putting him in A and kind of like going like this edge stuff. But because I don't see in what world he's not a guard. Like he has to be a guard almost. And for me, him as a guard is yeah, he definitely belongs up there with Sewell, 100% as a guard. Um,
The cool thing with him though is that he can literally play anything.
no,
So if
he
you have
can. He
injuries, you kick him outside and you're going to have an above average tackle.
You're gonna have an above average tackle, yes, 100%. I'm just merely stating that his full potential is realized when he is guard, like you were saying, which is why I was saying that if I had to prospect him as a tackle, I would put him in A because of that reach. That reach in the NFL level, that's going to be a problem. He
Speed
could be
helps though.
great. He
Speed
he could still
helps.
be really good because of his speed and because of his immeasurables, because of all those other things. But I don't think he'll ever be elite because he doesn't have the reach. He can be
That's fair.
elite as a guard,
That's
which
fair.
which is why I'm putting him in S again as a guard. If we're talking tackle, he's down at A, in my opinion.
That's fair. As far
Um,
as landing spots for him though, he's going in the top half of the first. I don't think he goes in the top 10. I don't think he
no,
manages to climb his way all the way up there. I think at earliest he lands with the Cowboys if the Cowboys are unable to get a Kyle Pitts or one of those corners that they might want. I think he's their fallback option.
yeah,
But
but oh, sorry, continue.
more likely landing spots for him is the Chargers again. Chargers really need some O line help pretty much everywhere except for center now because they got Lindsley. But another more likely landing spot is the Vikings if they cannot make the swing for Orlando Brown, like we talked about last week.
Yeah, I see. I think the swing with Orlando Brown does happen. So I really feel like the Chargers grab him because, like I said, I don't think that Sewell goes past the Panthers, and I don't know if the Panthers pull the trigger on Rashawn Slater if they don't get Sewell. They might get somebody else at 8.
Or
That,
trade back.
huh?
Or trade back.
Or that. All right, guys. Sorry about that. My internet just bugged out randomly, so we are like maybe 30 minutes to an hour into the future. But we are going to continue on where we left off. So we were talking about Rashawn Slater. Um, I was basically saying I don't have him as high as Penei Sewell, and all of that good stuff. But we will continue on to Elijah Vera Tucker. Where you got this man?
I have him in B. He's going to be the first player in B.
First player
Uh,
in B, all the way down to B.
yeah.
Okay.
But Elijah Vera Tucker is another player I'd like to see kick inside, but he can play left tackle. I do like his size, but his strength and his hands don't really strike me as elite. He does have the main plus that you get with him is he's a very high floor. What you see with him is what you're going to get. His ceiling's low though. He's not going to develop that much more. He's going to come in, plug and play as a starter, and that's going to be what you get. That's it. About a little bit above average guard or tackle, whatever you want to do. So he does offer that positional flexibility. Do think he's going to go in the first round. As far as comparisons for me, he kind of reminds me of Elgton Jenkins with the Packers. That little bit of positional flexibility, a little bit above average kind of guy. Pretty solid overall. As far as landing spots, maybe even the Packers joining Elgton Jenkins because the Packers just need O line help all over. Other places would be the Steelers because their whole O line is just gone. They all left. We talked about that recently.
Yeah, we
And then
did. We
another
did.
spot would be the Chiefs, who also had a similar departure. They all three of those teams just need O line help everywhere, and with that positional flexibility, you get him solid starter immediately. They're picking at the end of the first round. That's all. That's really all you can hope for. So
No, and that is completely fair. And so I'm gonna be a little bit higher on Elijah than you are, just because I really do like his quickness. Though he is pretty quick. And another thing is that he avoids bending at the waist. He doesn't give up that leverage too much. He bends more at the knees, keeping him grounded and keeping him able to not be pushed back, which is nice. Like you said, he's solid, and he's not really like you said, he doesn't have a super high ceiling, but like he's going to come in and you're going to be able to fit him into your scheme most likely from day one. I've got him going day one. Um, I mean, I'll be honest. From here on out, I'm not high on pretty much anybody. I think pretty much everyone else are projects or sus for other reasons, and I'll get to those when we get there. Um, But Elijah, I think he's the last lineman to go round one. So I think these are going to be your first three linemen picked. And I think they might be the best three. Minus other things, obviously, like from other people down when we talked about them. But I like Elijah Vera Tucker. I think he's very solid. And like you said, late round one, basically those three teams are the three teams that like late round one are going to pick up somebody like him. Um, I don't see people like the Ravens grabbing him just because I think they have other needs, and signing just Mitchell Schwartz would be enough to be able to draft later on.
for sure.
Um, so yeah, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Packers are really like the ones that need it now. And again he could just plug right into there and work very well. Like you said, he could be a tackle or a guard. So he's got upsides for any of those teams, which is why I think he goes in the late first round. But continuing on to Christian Darrisaw. Sorry if I horribly mispronounced that name, but Christian. Let's move on to Christian.
So with Christian, uh, I don't like him that much. He's in B for me, but I think NFL teams do see him a little bit higher than that. I do think he's going to go in the first round, but I have him in B.
Below
Yes, below. So with him, I'm a little bit sus of his groin. He's got some minor injury scares there consistently over his college career, so that's a little fear for me. But if you throw that out, he's an excellent left tackle prospect, good size and length. The main thing that I'm scared of is that he gets lazy on random plays, just out of nowhere. He gets it's like he forgets what he's doing. He forgets where he is, and he just lets people through. Um, he's too reliant on his natural ability because he's extremely able. He just God given talent, and uh, so to me, he's going to need an extremely good coach to smack some sense into him if he's really going to reach that level, which he can, which is why I have him in B and why I think he's going to go day one. He has it. Just will he ever realize that and get past that laziness? I don't know. He reminds me a little bit of Laramie Tunsil, and that's my comparison for him. That's kind of a ceiling for him, though, is the potential of the Laramie Tunsil, and I don't think he ever gets paid anywhere close to what Laramie Tunsil is making, like we made fun of the Texans for earlier. But as far as landing spots for him, I see either Washington or Pittsburgh in the first round.
Interesting. Okay. So you think he's going to get picked before Vera Tucker?
I do. I do. I think because his talent is more so than Vera Tucker. Really, the only knock on him is that he gets lazy and take random plays off. But If you have a good coach like Washington does with Ron Rivera or Pittsburgh does with Mike Tomlin, they ain't going to accept that nonsense. He'll go right to the bench. And I do think he values playing. So I don't
That's fair, and those two coaches could probably get the most out of him. But for the reasons that you just said, I literally had it written down. Great run blocker, but seems to not finish strong and slow reactions.
yeah,
Like,
it's literally like he forgets where he is
yeah, like
and he zones out.
I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Um, but but again, you can't argue. Like, I can't argue that he isn't like monstrously with his immeasurables, with just his God given talent. I can't I can't argue that, which is why I couldn't put him in C. I would if I could, honestly. I really don't like that lackadaisicalness, especially from an offensive lineman who is going to be protecting the most valuable asset on the entire team.
Yeah, and B, he's an 80. He's right there on that fringe of C for me.
Yeah,
I was really close.
no, yeah. No, exactly like I just said. I would put him in C if it wasn't for those immeasurables. That's the only reason why he's in B for me. The only two people that should take him in the first round are those two that you just said. Because for me, he's a day two prospect at best. Because just because I am so sus of that not finishing strong. I am very sus of that. But if he can get over that, he could be great. He could be phenomenal. You know, I mean, still maybe not necessarily the Laramie Tunsil, but I mean, hey, maybe he fouls less than Laramie Tunsil. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Um,
His game still reminds me of Laramie Tunsil, though.
no, of
And
course,
Laramie Tunsil had those lazy issues at the beginning. He did.
no, 100%. Um, so yeah, like that's just where I am with him. That's I hate to say it. I wish he wasn't like that. I want him to give more, but he just doesn't. But moving on to a name I can pronounce, Alex Leatherwood. Very simple.
I
Uh,
like that name.
yeah, it's a very easy name. But yeah, where do you got this guy, Joel?
I have him in B, but above Darisaw.
Okay,
Um, so he's an
so
excellent left tackle prospect. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure. So below Elijah, above Darisol.
Yes. Uh, excellent left tackle prospect. He's good, but not great in everything. Kind of similar to how Vera Tucker is.
Okay, yeah.
Um, needs some hand placement work. He struggles with some of the more elite defensive linemen. They're able to beat him in the hands game. Uh, he's always going to be solid, though, in my opinion. His worst is in run blocking. Not great there, but in pass blocking, he's pretty elite. And in a passing offense where the passing is central, he's going to be he could be an excellent lineman.
I just want to say real
My
quick before you continue, you literally took the words out of my mouth. I literally had that written down. Literally, that he was a great pass defender, and that is what the league needs moving to this heavy pass offense. We
yes,
need people like this guy.
for sure. As far as NFL comparison for me, it's Tristan Wirfs, easy.
Okay.
He looks a lot like Tristan Wirfs. Um, and then as far as landing spots for him, he's either going to go at the end of the very end of the first to the Chiefs, or he's going to go in the second to the Bengals if the Bengals do not pick up a lineman in the first round. Because lineman is right there at the top of their list, and if they don't, they need to snag a guy like this at the
One
beginning of the second.
100%. I completely agree. And for basically the reasons you just said, I have him above Darasal myself in B. Um, so another reason why I put him in B is I do feel like he is still a bit of a project because I mean you still need to get better at run blocking. I'm not saying that you only I wasn't trying to say that you just need a great pass blocker, but with this pass heavy league, having somebody who's a great pass blocker already and just needing to work on the run stuff, I would take that over some of these other guys that we're about to talk about. And the other thing he needs to kind of worry about is that he doesn't really move defenders. Now, he doesn't normally get moved either. It's more of kind of like a stalemate. But it would be nice to be able to see him push people away, aka like in the run blocking.
Exactly.
Um, but I mean, I completely agree with you, Joel. I think he's a top round two prospect. I think the only team that's going to grab him in the first round would be like the Chiefs because they need O line. They need O line so bad, and we've already made fun of him for it, so I won't get into it that much. Um, but yeah, so he is definitely a top day two prospect, and I would almost bet on the Bengals not going O line in the first round and then going O line here with
Entirely possible.
and most likely picking Alex. Like I would almost be willing to bet on that personally. But moving on to somebody who is maybe like a fun idea because he was a defensive lineman, now O lineman in James Hudson. His stock has been climbing a good bit.
Hmm. I like James Hudson a lot. I'm the one who pointed him out to Lee. I've
He
had my
did.
eyes
He
on him
did.
for a little bit. Uh, Absolutely love him as a project. If that's the way you want to go in the draft and pick a prospect, let him sit for a year, further develop him, let him play a little bit as your sixth lineman, goal line situations, swing stuff. That's excellent. Huge upside. He shows so much potential. He could easily become one of the best linemen in this class in the right situation and if allowed to develop. Um, I love his personality as well. Just that switch over to offensive lineman, giving up D line that he'd been playing. And I listened to an interview he gave with a guy.
Okay.
He's fun. He's got a big heart, big personality.
That's cool.
Uh, Very strong, very athletic, but very raw, obviously, since he's only been an offensive lineman for a single year.
Yeah.
Um, but in a year or two with the right coach, like I said, I could see him becoming one of the best in this class. And also one of the few remaining guys that hasn't ended up kicking inside, like we've talked about with a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
He's going to be a
he's a true
tackle,
tackle. He's a true tackle.
definitely.
Which if you need a good tackle, yeah. But also Joel, where do you rank this man's?
That's right. I have him in B, actually. I'm
Okay.
that high on him. He's going to be above Darisaw also, but behind those other two. Um,
Spoiler alert. That's exactly where I have him.
um, but as far as my comparison for him, I see him as a little bit of a DJ Humphreys from Arizona.
Okay.
He can he can really become like that. His game very similar. As far as landing spots for him, also the Bengals in the third. If they still haven't grabbed an offensive lineman, if they wait that long, this
Wow.
man could be excellent for them. And with how the Bengals are run, also
I
double
mean,
dipping at the position is not necessarily a bad idea either. Say they go Sewell in the first round, you come back around in the third round, he's sitting there, he's best player. Go ahead and snag him. Your whole O line's trash. So get as much help as you possibly can.
but and
Um,
Joel, real quick, which side of the line did he play?
Mostly left tackle. He
Okay.
can't. I think he can switch. I don't think he's locked into left tackle, but he
I
is
mean,
a
yeah. I mean, he
tackle.
only played 1 year. I just that was the one thing I forgot to look up with him was which side of the line he played on.
Yeah, but uh, as far as the other landing spots, also Seattle in the third round. They just need O line help in general, and they don't have picks earlier than that. So grabbing somebody with as much upside as him would be wise, because
No,
in
yeah.
2 years he could be one of the top talents from this draft, and they managed to snag him in the third round. That's a win all the way around. Uh, I don't think he's going to go on the second, but his originally he was a nobody. His stock has climbed up into day two. Usually with stock like that, it's going to keep on going up till draft day. So I could see him going as early in the second to the Packers. I could see
Ooh,
that.
that would be. I think that'd be a very good pickup for the Packers. Now another team. Now this is again. The main reason why I asked earlier is because one of the teams I had written down And again, I had forgotten to look which side he was on, so maybe this is a little not as good of a pick. But the Ravens, Ravens still need a little bit of O line help, and if he falls to the third round, that's a beautiful spot. Well, I say falls, but if he stays in the third round prospect as he currently is, that would be a really nice spot for the Ravens to pick up a lineman like him. And if they sign Schwartz, have him learn under Schwartz? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and if he does end up as a left tackle, learning under
Or
Stanley
learning under
is not a
Stanley?
better,
Yeah, like
because Stanley could have injury issues from here on out.
he could.
It
That
could.
that is fair. It still wouldn't be a bad idea to grab a left tackle.
Yeah, in the third round, if you pick up a premier backup for your O line,
No, yeah. So I think that that could also be another really good spot because while the Ravens O line isn't terrible, it still could use just a touch, just a touch. They just need some more depth basically, and they need a legit starting right tackle. But again, I think they get that with Schwartz. Continuing on though to some people who normally play the interior in Trey Smith, where you got him?
I have him in C.
Okay.
I don't like Trey Smith that much. His injury scares are pot. There's some other guys on here who have had significant injuries. Nothing as much as this poor man. It's not his fault. He's had bad lung clots several times. He might have an underlying heart condition. His mother had one. Now there's fears that he might. His stock is plummeting like nobody's business. Um, if you remove all the injuries from the equation, he's a massive, just man mover at the guard position, particularly at right guard. Extremely powerful and explosive. He does lack at like that elite athleticism or flexibility. He's pretty much locked into right guard. That's where
Yeah,
he's going to play. Uh, he's a big finisher. You see a lot of pancakes out of him, but
that is
he's got
fair.
slow. He's got slow feet. As
That
far
is also
as
fair.
like NFL comparison, everything that I've ever looked at or watched with him, they compare him to Assimile, Kalicia Assimile. He looks like it, so I got to echo chamber
I
it.
mean,
He's almost a clone. It's kind of crazy. As far as where I think he's gonna go, at one time he was a first round prospect. He's plummeted further and further down. His game is still pretty good, so I think he's still gonna go in the second, though he could go as late as the third, depending on if a team wants to risk that health and what their doctors have cleared on him. Uh, so I'm as far as just landing spots for him in general, because I don't really know where he's going to go. Is he going to be the Giants or the Chicago Bears?
okay, yeah, I could definitely see both those places. I also have him in C. I was very much debating between B and C, but man, that the blood clots, that is, oh, I feel so bad for the guy. I really do. Like like you said, that's just genetics. You can't really control that. It wasn't anything that happened on the field. All of his on the field stuff is just, I like him. He's solid. I put solid left guard, but again, just that the pulmonary issue with the blood clots. And like I said, I was debating all day between B and C when I was initially ranking all these prospects. Um, but I couldn't
Couldn't
I
in good conscience
I
put him
couldn't
in
in good
B.
conscience put him above Darrisaw when Darrisaw could, like, he's an injury is probably not going to end his career.
No.
At least doesn't have a history of it.
Yeah.
Blood clots in
Just
your lung, like,
twice.
yeah, like that
That's
that that could definitely prematurely end somebody's career. And it's sad. It's really sad. I hope it doesn't. I hope he has a fantastic career, even if it's just for like 5 or 8 years, something like that. Maybe not as long as other linemen, but still like a good decent career, you know.
mm,
Um, but yeah, it's very sad to see with Trey Smith. But moving on to Wyatt Davis, what do you think of this guy? What where you got him?
I have him in C, just above Trey Smith.
Okay,
Um, he's fringe B for me. I was really close to putting him in B. Knee issues have plagued him somewhat. Not horrible. I think he can get past it, but it's there, which is part of what knocks him down. Because I was right hovering on the edge. He's a right guard. He should. This is one of those late round picks that you get that should start from the get go, which is really cool. Because usually when you're getting to the third round, you're picking a developmental prospect or even a backup. He's gonna start when you plug him in. Um, he's got a really high floor, very low ceiling though. He's an absolute mauler with excellent feet, but just randomly, it seems like they get stuck in concrete when you watch him. They just stop going, and you're like, where'd that come from? I think that may be the knee bothering him, possibly, but I'm not sure of that. As far as comparisons for him, I have AJ Can for the Jaguars with as far as his play style and as far as his consistency. Like he's gonna be an slightly above average guy, always gonna be out there, but unspectacular. Never gonna highlight. He's gonna mess up occasionally. Just gonna be that cog in the
in the
scheme.
machine,
So
yeah.
so as far as landing spots for him, I do think he's going to end up going in the second round, maybe to the Bills. They need some guard help, and then also the Giants.
Okay. No, that is I think the Giants might be good for him. They definitely need some more O line help. But I was the same with you. I was debating between B and C, and I put him low B. I have him at the bottom of my B tier. Um, and I could very easily even put him behind Trey Smith in my opinion. Because there's one big stat that I really did not like when I saw it, and it's that in 2020 he allowed 2 sacks in both of his first games of the season.
Yeah,
Four
it's a little
sacks
rough.
in 2 games.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but his run blocking is great. He has great ground game blocking, but again, it's like opposite of oh my word. Oh, Alex Leatherwood. It's like the opposite of Alex Leatherwood. Great run blocking, but not great pass blocking. So I was like scanning my notes, like, wait, who? But continuing, but I'm going to put him above just because like I said, he does have a great ground game, and I think that he can develop that pass blocking game. Obviously, I'm not as sus of his injury as I am of a pulmonary injury. I probably
Hmm.
said that wrong, but whatever. The blood clots. Um, and I do like what I do like what I see from him. He does seem like he's going to be solid at the bare minimum. So I could definitely see a team taking a chance on him in the third round. Now I don't think he goes second round. I do firmly believe he's probably capped in the third round prospect in my opinion. Just because he is such a project. Like I said, like basically everybody below A for me are basically either projects or I'm sus of them for some reason. And so I think he heavily falls under that project category, and he really needs to work on that pass blocking game to really make a difference on a team, and not even like meaning like he could ever be elite, but just make a difference, like be good. Um, but moving on to uh, some centers, there we've got two of them in Landon Dickerson and Creed Humphrey. We will talk about Dickerson first. Joel.
All right. I love him. I know he has so many injuries, and it's bad. I have him in B still. He's my second B prospect. The injuries are bad. I gotta grant that. I do have faith in his ability to recover. He always recovers. He always gets back out there. It's just different injuries every time. And
Where do you got him in B? Please, for love,
second B guy.
you have
I
him
know.
above Alex Leatherwood.
Yep, because he has that potential with an NFL regimen. He just if you remove the injuries from the equation,
If
I'd
you remove
probably
the
be putting
injuries
him
from
in S.
everybody,
No, I know. I get
he
that.
has three
Okay.
season-ending injuries in college.
I know. I'm usually injuries are usually just write him off. Write him off for me.
Three season-ending, and then another one that was season-altering.
No, I get it. Okay, I get the sus on him. The potential is so good. He's gonna have to be round 3 or later if I'm a GM. He's gonna have to be. Uh oh, you have him down at C. Okay, but
Bottom.
if I were a GM and he's still sitting there in round 3 or round 4, and after my guys have done an evaluation on him and they're not too scared of him, now I would have to rely on the medical evaluations, of course. But I would do cartwheels up to the podium like this man, like what he did in the pro day behind Mac Jones, where he was doing his cartwheels while he's recovering from. He's just so fun and he's so cool. He's got a stupid high football IQ when he's out there. Uh, Elite pass protecting center with great leadership qualities, because that's what you want most out of your centers. Great leadership. So even if he's hurt, he can still be leading, which is something. Uh, as far as when he's on the field, he does remind his play is Travis Frederick esque, but he's no Travis Frederick. Okay, he's no Travis Frederick, but uh, he's going to be a great pickup for somebody in the later rounds, I think. Uh, and if not for his injuries, he would be going in the first round. So that's what you got to remember when you're drafting somebody in the third round or the fourth round. You're picking a maybe. That's the best you're going to get, and he's definitely that, because if he can get past these injuries, you've got yourself your starting center forever. Uh, as far as landing spots for him, I could see the Giants looking at him in the third round or the fourth round, and also the Packers. They really need somebody to replace Lindsley. And if you can draft a starter in the third or the fourth round to immediately plug in, that's what you got to do. Lee really doesn't like me right now.
So remember when I said earlier in the show where I feel like I'm going to be Joel today? I didn't know Joel was going to be me. This
Usually we're
man,
reversed on this issue.
he you can say
Hey,
all the good things you want about the man. I get it. I get it. He could be elite. He could be this. He could be that. I get it. First round talent, blah blah. He's been injured so many times and it's been his legs.
different though, different each time.
Eventually it's going to be the same. Eventually it's going to be a re-injury, and when you have four different injuries,
You're 4 times more likely at those. Yeah, no, I got it. I understand. I told you I understand the sus. I am usually the complete opposite. Just watching this guy,
I get
my heart
watching him.
is like,
I get the hype, but it's just I'm putting myself in the shoes of a GM. There
I
is
told you I
no
gotta wait for
way.
my medical
There
announcement.
is no way in hell that I spend higher than a fourth round pick on this man.
Okay. What
There
if what if what if his stuff comes back clear though?
he has four different injuries, and any
Okay,
one of them can be re-aggravated at any time.
that's fair.
He is a center. He is going to be in the middle and has to either push people out of the he's going to be one of the main people to direct the traffic for run blocking, or he's also going to be the main person blocking the interior defensive lineman from coming in at him. He's going to get a lot of time on his there's going to be a lot of wear. That's better word. There's going to be a lot of wear on him. Again, I wouldn't spend higher than a fourth round pick on him because I would not start him day one. I would have him behind somebody, give him a little bit of snaps here and there to see how he can do. And you slowly work him into that and see how far you can push him, how many snaps you can give him each year. Uh, Go game by game for the first year. Give maybe if he does really well with I don't know 5-10 snaps, maybe
You don't want
you
to be doing a timeshare at center.
huh?
That's not. You don't want to do a timeshare at center. Center is the most important offensive line spot because they're basically the second leader of the offense. They
No,
call all the adjustments. You don't want it. You don't want a timeshare. It's
that's
either
fair,
he's in or
but
he's
but I
out.
what I'm saying is that you can't just throw this man into the fire with the injuries that he has had.
No, you're right. You have to ramp him up. You
Yeah.
ramp him up in the preseason, and you see how it goes. And
Oh,
then
okay. That's fair. That's fair. Preseason to see how it goes. But I've kind of forgotten about it because they're slowly getting rid of it.
no, that's fair.
Like that,
That is the
what's
one
going to be
benefit is
two
the
games
preseason
next
is for guys
season?
like this. No, I think it's still three, but uh, I mean that's the benefit of the preseason is for guys like this is because you can really truly evaluate them rather than throwing them in and then who knows what happens kind of
No,
thing.
that's fair.
I
But that's basically what I'm trying to say is that and for somebody who I'm going to be evaluating through preseason or throughout the season, I don't want to spend higher than a fourth round. Maybe a third if I really
I
need some
see.
O line help, if I really need some center help. But I'd be even really reluctant to give that third.
It depends on the situation. It depends what the medical evaluators have to say. You have your
That's
guys
that.
look at him.
I guess for me, I don't see how the medical evaluators come back with just being all like, "Oh yeah, no, he's 100%." There's no way.
No, that's fair.
And
I get the sus. I couldn't the potential is just so
yeah, and sometimes it's unfortunate that potential gets ruined by injuries. It happens all the time, which is why I would not get over. I would not. Let me just say this: looking at yours right now, unless if you put Creed Humphrey into A tier, you're saying that you would pick this man as the fourth lineman.
that's not what I'm saying.
It's
It's
kind
not.
of what you're saying.
I put him there based on his potential because that's where I needed to put him mentally.
God, I
I would
just
not necessarily make him the fourth lineman off the board. See, that's the difference.
no, I know, no, I know. I'm just
There's a
saying.
big disparity.
I know
There's a
there's a bit of I know you're saying he's probably gonna go in the third round. I'm just saying that it I couldn't put him past Trey Smith. I couldn't do it.
I'm less sus of
Here,
him than Trey
here,
Smith.
here. I will even do this. I can't put him past Creed Humphrey. He's in the very bottom.
Wow. Okay.
I
That's,
3 season-ending injuries and then a fourth season basically altering injury. Like he's
no, I
had a
get it.
major injury every single season.
I get it.
It's
But
just
we gotta move past it here.
that
What do
which
you?
is what I was doing by putting Creed Humphrey there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where you have Creed Humphrey. You have
Yeah.
him in C.
Yeah, I've Creed Humphrey in C above Dickerson. Sorry, I almost forgot the guy who I was just ranting about. Um, the things I like is that he keeps his feet moving and he does stay square. Now he's not super strong at the point, and again is another person who needs work. He again, like I've said before, all of these people in B and C are projects. All of them. He, I, except for like again, there's a couple people that's the injuries, but at the same time, I almost count the injuries as projects because you have to see whether or not they're going to pan out, which is kind of like a project.
Oh, that's fair.
If you think about it like that, you know what I mean? So for me, all of these people need work. They all need something to help them. I see him again, probably going in like the third or fourth round. Um, just some team that probably has a decent O line, but just needs some extra center help. Uh, I mean, these two centers are really the only ones in this draft. So, and the Packers really need a center. I I almost don't know if I would grab either of these centers if I was the Packers. But I mean, if they grab one of them, it it's going to be one of these. I mean, obviously, it's going to be one of these two. I, I, I'm sorry. I am so just mind bozzled right now that like I can't even words. Um.
I told you one of mine
Oh.
was gonna shake you. I told you.
Oh man. Okay. But yeah. I mean, I would almost flip a coin between between these two centers because one super injury prone but has a bunch of upsides, and the other guy who's a super project who needs a lot of work. I almost I would almost put them as the same person in my opinion. In my humblest of opinions, I'd almost just like fuse them and like put them as the same spot here, just because it's really a flip of the coin which one goes first, in my opinion.
That's fair. Um, but I have him at the end, the very end of B tier. He's right on that fringe for me.
Okay.
Uh, the thing that makes him that high is because once again, what you're looking for in a center is a leader, and he's that. He was a captain for 2 years at Oklahoma. 2 years. That's pretty impressive. He does have some minor injury fears too, not as bad as my buddy over here, Dickerson, but does have the minor Achilles fears. But going back to like just his game, great size, except that he has a little short, stubby arms. But once again, you can get past that depending on where he lands, depending on who's playing next to him. You can play around it. Uh, has a high IQ, pretty good athleticism, great core strength, but kind of weak feet. He can get pushed back. Footwork's not great. Uh, Not an elite run blocker. And though he's a center, he can play anything, which is nice. So, like, if you draft him, say, in the third or the fourth round, he's going to be your sixth offensive lineman. If you have any injuries anywhere, you plug him in, and
No,
you're going to have an average guy. So
that
that's the benefit to him.
that is very nice. So yeah, no, that's 100% fair. You could definitely have him as that person that can just come in anywhere.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you're looking for when you're drafting a backup offensive lineman. Is that guy that can kind of you have a guard go down one game, you throw him out there. Then the next game he's playing left guard. The next game he's playing right tackle. The next game he's playing 2 games in a row at center. And you may play like 15, 16 games, but at 4 different positions. So that's always cool to have because your offensive line is one of the most banged up position groups. But moving on, I see him as kind of a Graham Glasgow for the Broncos with that positional flexibility, and he can. I think he can possibly reach that level of just he's solid. He's solid. Never a superstar. Never going to make the big bucks, but just kind of cruising. As far as landing spots for him, I could see the Steelers in the third round because they just need O line help, and he can be an excellent boost. Also, Seattle, same thing. They just need somebody who can play everything, and wherever their position battle loses out, you throw him in.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Um, no, those are decent spots. Sorry that I was a little bit incoherent. I am I am definitely taken aback a good bit. Um, but that is going to be our O lineman. I would very much like to move on from this. This is almost hurting me. Um,
Wow.
but
I managed to offend him.
No, I'm not gonna say I'm offended. I'm just saying that it's a lot. It's a lot to to take in. Think the guy who literally pegged people down because they had injuries, and me, the guy who was like, no, they're still good. Yeah, the one guy that I was like, oh, Joe, this guy's got 3 season-ending injuries, and then a fourth one.
I
No,
know. Usually,
no.
usually
His talent outweighs. I we're not. This is not going to be the Landon Dickerson show. We are moving on. We are going to D lineman. Okay, we're going to D line. We're talking about Quiti Pay because he is amazing.
Oh, you think okay? I have him on the fringe of A and B. I don't like him that much, but he's still an excellent talent. Uh,
Where
he can
please A.
A.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's an A. Uh, can be an edge rusher, but I see him more as like a 3-4 defensive end, or if he's in a 4-3 system, he can play the defensive end, but I see him more as one tech. Uh, Never going to be the stand up rusher, I don't think. Uh, Minor injury concerns, not a big deal, and look past it. Very hardworking, good leader, average athleticism. I don't see him as that elite athlete. As now that's a varying opinion. Just that's my view on it.
No, yeah, I mean, like, I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, I'm like, yeah, maybe not elite, but still amazing.
That
Sorry,
I
continue,
mean, this
continue,
is what the
continue.
show's about. Differing
No, no, no,
views
no, no,
here.
no, no. Of course.
So
Sorry, sorry. I'm just getting all kinds of. But continue, continue.
I love his pass rushing moves. Great moves. That's what pushed him into A for me. Uh, Needs some more bulk though. Needs to muscle up. As far as comparison for him, I see a Brandon Graham. That's pretty obvious.
I mean,
As far as landing spots, I think he's going to go in the middle of the first. Chargers at the earliest, but my favorite landing spot for him when I was looking at the draft order is the Raiders. He's a very Gruden esque player to me.
no, he is very aggressive, and that's one of the things I really like about him. And he does have great technique. Like when he's going after the lineman, it was almost like he was just maneuvering the lineman out of his way. Like it wasn't even like that I mean he is powerful and he can push people out of his way, but a lot of the times when he got to the quarterback, it was almost like the lineman was just like an inconvenience to him. And that's what I really like about him is that he can really get through that. And now I don't think he's that much of an edge rusher. He can play out on the edge, but a lot of times he was just getting through these interior linemen, and it was so fun to watch. So much fun. I really enjoyed watching him get to the quarterback because he just trips up these interior linemen and just gets through them, gets around them, bulldozes. Like it's just you are right. He does need to bulk up a little bit, but he just had a great eye. This was the other thing I wrote down. Is that he just has a great eye for the ball. Like a lot of the times he didn't get tripped up between if the quarterback or the running back had the ball. He was very good at getting off his block and getting the runner, and knowing that the runner had it.
He's got great vision. Yeah.
Vision, thank you. Yeah, great
Yeah.
vision. And those things I really like. I like this guy. I think he's going to be really good. And yeah, middle first round I think is a very good spot for him. Um, I mean there's so many teams that can use a defensive guy like him, but I do really like your Gruden connection right there because he feels like a Gruden grinder. He definitely feels like one of those guys. I definitely get that vibe off of him. But moving on to Christian Barmore, um,
I don't like Barmore that much. I have him all the way down in C. Um, He's going to be a 3 tech defensive tackle in a 4-3 scheme. Doesn't really project that well over to the 3-4. Um, Solid player with good potential. Could use some time in a rotation. I don't think he's going to start right away. I think he's going to be. I think he needs to be in a rotation. Uh, he relies too much on his just power because he's very powerful, and offensive linemen and coaches know that, and they scheme around that and they fool him. He falls for misdirections and options and screens constantly. I don't know where his head is at. I don't know if he just can't see straight or what it is, but it really bothers me. I cannot have the defensive tackle. He needs to occupy that middle. He can't be fooled. I want my defensive tackle to be a space eater and just occupy the middle, and he does not do a good job. He chases and then he chases wrong. If you're going to chase, you have to be right as a defensive tackle, and he's wrong a lot. So that's why I put him down there, strictly because of that. If he can figure out how to get past that, he's coached well, figures it out at the next level. He can become kind of like a Gerald McCoy, I think. As far as landing spots for him, I think latter half of the first round, or maybe he might even fall to the second, because I do think NFL teams will be concerned with his vision. Uh, Landing spots in the first would be somewhere like the Titans, which I know you would kind of laugh, especially if he turns out to be bad and that vision becomes an issue. But as far as landing spots in the second, I could see him landing somewhere like the Bengals. Bengals need defensive tackle help now that they've let Geno Atkins go, and it could make some sense.
Yeah. I mean, so I like Christian. I like him a little bit more than you. I'm just so shocked that like we are definitely different in these O linemen and these D linemen. We were almost like one for one with the running backs, and now with
All
these
over
O
the
linemen
place.
and these D linemen, I have him in B. Only because like you said, he does get fooled a lot. But I love his power and his size. I mean, he's 6'5", 310 pounds. Like this, he's a boulder. Like
He's a big man.
yeah, like and which is why he is a big man and it's going to be hard for him to change direction. He needs to learn to not bite as much. And I completely agree with you on that. But I can't overlook his immeasurables. I mean, he's a big dude, he's a strong dude. I think he can learn how to not bite as much and on like a good defensive minded team. Now, I know he's not an edge rusher, and I know that the Ravens need more of an edge rusher, but the Ravens have always been a team that can develop people, that can
That's very true.
develop linemen, develop defensive talent almost in general. They've been known to develop defensive talent across the board.
Since their very creation, they ooze defensive talent.
Exactly,
They're a factory.
exactly. So now I'm not saying that he definitely goes there because I do think there are some other people that I think the Ravens will probably.
Rather
I
high.
don't think the Ravens are going to value him as high as some other teams that will, because the Ravens are probably going to value him as a project, which meaning probably like a third rounder, while he's probably going to get picked up in maybe like the late first or second round, most likely. I'm just saying that if he does fall, it could be a pretty good pickup for the Ravens. Because like I said, they are good at developing talent, and I think that's just what he needs. He just needs that little bit of development, and then he could be that explosive big dude in the middle. And yeah, I like him, but again, you do have to be a little bit sus because yeah, he's not gonna start day one. He's just not, or at least he shouldn't.
No, that's definitely correct.
That's a better way to put it. He shouldn't. But moving on to a name that I definitely can't pronounce, so I'm just gonna say Levi.
I got it. I looked it up and I heard him pronounce it. Onzurike. Onzurike. That's how it's
On
said.
so the WU is almost silent.
Yeah.
Onzurike.
Own. Zurike.
Onzurike. Okay. But
So
okay, but Levi.
very flashy on tape. Quick feet, heavy hands with uh, great pad movement. Got great rushing moves for a defensive tackle. You don't see that too much with defensive tackles. He can be an elite pass rushing defensive tackle, and because of that, I think he can offer the ability to kick outside the defensive end if you so wish. Uh, Great speed, great tackling ability. That's another thing you don't see with defensive tackles a lot. They don't have great tackling mechanics. They just kind of on the guy. They just lay on him,
Yeah.
and he wraps up and he'll pull him down. He'll chase him down behind the line of scrimmage on a sweep if he breaks through. I love him. Needs some more development, but he really could become special. Best in a rotation for now, but I think he can become that guy, your guy that anchors your defensive line. Um, Needs some work in the run defense, but he's already there as a rusher. He could easily become an elite defensive tackle pass rusher very quickly. As far as his comparison, a guy that I mentioned earlier, he could become like a Geno Atkins. As far as landing spots for him, I see him going in the second round. I really do, and it's either going to be to the Bengals or to Dallas.
Okay, okay. Bengals or Dallas? Okay.
And he's in B. I forgot to say that earlier. He's
Oh,
in
okay,
B.
yeah. Levi.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my dog came by me and was I was trying to shoo her away. Sorry about
Gotcha.
that. I got a little distracted. But okay, cool. Yeah, Levi and B, and you said Chargers or Dallas?
No, Bengals or Dallas.
Bengals. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Bengals or Dallas. Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, no, 100%. I could definitely see that. I was debating between A or B. I really like Levi. I do. I really like his intangibles. Because like you said, he's so good at wrapping people up. He has a great technique. And like another thing about him is that he is very much of a power lineman. He can get through to people with his strength. And another thing is in the run game, he doesn't let himself get like tangled up by the lineman. He can normally like get off of his block and get to the running back, which is fantastic. Because I saw in a lot of times like there was a lot of times where like a lineman was trying to almost like drag him down almost, and he just shut like just nope.
He wants it.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
got that motor.
Exactly. So I'm gonna put him in the top of B, but it's close. It's top. Like he is so close to A in my opinion.
Yeah, I almost want to tell you to. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm moving him up to A. He's there. He made it. I was close this whole time, and I was just picturing him while you're talking. I was like, that's it. He's going to A.
No,
It's at the very end.
no, yeah, I mean, very much so. Like he is. The only reason why I'm not going to put him in A is because I don't think he goes in the first round. But he is so good. I like him so much. I really do, and I think he's going to be a very good pickup for somebody. Again, like if another person that like if he falls again, the Ravens. Oh my God, like
The Ravens ended up with him in the second. Almost suicide. Like I can't believe Dallas passed him up. I
yeah. Well, I
He's
mean,
too good. He's too good. If
no,
he
no,
ends up
no.
falling that far, I'll be shook.
100%, 100%. But I mean, hey, maybe there's some other things that the Cowboys want.
No, that's true. I just like him so much. He's one of my favorites in
No,
this
he
class,
no
just in general.
he is very good. And I don't want to keep on saying Ravens for all these defenders. It's so hard to like not think of like a great defensive team like the Ravens being able to develop like any of these dudes. Like I mean, but like you could say the same thing about like the Steelers. The Steelers have also always had a very good defense. Teams like
The Bears.
the
Don't
Bears. The
forget the
Bears.
Bears.
Oh, the Bears have always had a great
I
defense.
almost put the Bears in there because
Yeah,
as so far as a landing spot for him, because them and Akeem Hicks have been rumored to be headed towards a divorce. He could replace Akeem Hicks very well.
that is fair. That is fair. I mean, team. I mean, I want to say the Rams, but I feel like the Rams are going to implode soon. So I would almost be
You don't want
sus
to
of.
send him there.
Yeah, I don't want to. But again, like they could bolster up that defense even more. I mean, but yeah. So like there's a lot of things I could go with him. for me, it really depends on how like the second round shakes up. Because again, I definitely could see somebody, going for him, um, in the second round. It kind of depends like where he falls to, and who trades and all that kind of stuff that we'll talk about more during our mock draft. But continuing on, or did you have something else you wanted to add?
No, go
Okay,
ahead. Go on to Rashad Weaver.
exactly the guy, Rashad Weaver.
Weaver.
I
There you
almost said
go.
Rashad Wover.
No, Weaver. So
Yeah,
Weaver projects best to me as a 3-4 defensive end. I like his wide range of pass rushing moves. He's very well developed as far as that goes. He's got a lot of plays in his book. Um, needs some more bulk and needs some more strength, but those moves, they're next level. They're already NFL ready. Uh, he's going to be best in a defensive end rotation. And that's kind of the standard now that we're seeing is usually the teams will have like one guy, one defensive end that stays in there all the time. And then on the other side, it's a revolving door. And he would fit
that's
very well into something like that.
no, yeah, and I mean, honestly, just having your best defensive end on their best lineman, and then having a revolt. I mean, it's been working. It's really been
No,
working. So
exactly. And with that rotation, he's going to be your pass rushing specialist. On third down, you're throwing him out there. Uh, and I came up with this analogy for him. He's a great open door rusher. He opens the door for the other side to stand out and for his buddies to stand out. He doesn't stand out to me that much on tape, but I see him and I see all his buddies always succeeding when he's out there. I don't know how that works. I don't know if he fires them up or what, but it works. Uh, the problem with him is he's kind of a niche player. Like I said, he's got no value in the run game. He's a pass rushing, and that's it.
yeah.
And 10, 15 years ago, when all the rage was 3-4, he could have plugged in and played as a 3-4 defensive end just all the time, and it would have been great. Now you're not going to see that anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
But where do
but
you got him?
first comparison for him,
Oh, sorry.
Ziggy Ansah. I see him a lot like
Oh,
a Ziggy
okay.
Ansah. Landing spot for him, I do think he's going to go towards the end of the second or the beginning of the third because of that niche aspect to him. And you gave all these other guys to Baltimore. I'm giving him to Baltimore
I
for pass
mean,
rushing specialist to replace Judon. They need to replace that production somehow. I think he can pull it off and bolster the play, like I was saying, of all those other guys on that D line. And that could be a lot of fun to see. And then in the third round, one of those few teams that still runs a lot of 3-4 stuff would be Denver, and I could
oh
see him plugging in there. They've got good line talent, but they can always use one more. Bradley Chubb might be on the way out soon with his new contract coming up. Von Miller, they just need pass rushers. So
no fair. But where did you have him rank?
right at the beginning of the C, just because he's so niche.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You did say that.
Mhm.
I was listening to like what you were saying and like almost getting lost in what you were talking about. So, yeah, like I was so kind of like with Levi here. I mean, I like him a lot. So I was kind of, looking at maybe low A, but I can't put him above Levi. So I'm gonna put him right in the middle of B for me. Um, I definitely like him a little bit. Man, it's so tough. I'm like debating between even if I like him more than Christian Barmore. I mean, I have it written down here that he's above. I'm sorry. Continuing on, I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna keep it and keep it how I had it. I'm not changing.
Go
I
with
ain't
your
doing
gut.
anything crazy. I'm keeping him there. But so the reason why that I'm main reason why I'm debating between it is because like you said, I I almost I'm almost worried that ben that he benefited from the other people because it seemed like every time that there was a highlight of him, it was a highlight of the entire D line.
No, that's true, and that's part of his benefit that I was saying is that everybody succeeds when he's in. I
Yeah,
don't know if he
but
demands that much attention or what.
yeah, but I was almost saying, is he doing well because of the other people, or the other people doing well because of him?
So we're on two opposite sides of the
Well,
argument.
no,
I
no,
see it.
I'm saying I'm not 100% sure. I I I think that the others are doing well because of him. He seems like he's the standout, like that he's the one guy. I'm just saying, from what I saw as a GM, I would be a little worried that he could be. It could be the opposite, which is why I'm debating between whether I like him more than Barmore or not. But I'm gonna stick with that. I really do feel like that the others benefited from him, so I'm gonna keep him there. I'm gonna keep him there. I like him a lot. Like you were saying, but also like he has really good speed. Um, and a good eye for the ball. Like you were saying, like the vision. I feel like he does have a really good vision, which is another reason why I do feel like he was, the guy there. But again, it's just I don't want to say for sure one way. I feel weird saying one way for sure with him. I don't know why, but like now like I wrote it down, but saying it out loud, I feel weird saying it for sure just because I'm remembering seeing those plays, and it's just sometimes it's just like God. But we're going to continue on. I do like Rashad Weaver, and I think he'll be a great pickup. I think maybe just needs a little bit of tweaking, just a little bit more uh, uh, refinement per se. And on a team that is a great defense like the Ravens, what it that would be fantastic. I 100% agree with that. I mean, I feel like he could plug in with the Broncos very well, like you said. Um, and one of those teams probably try to grab a defensive person in probably like the third or fourth round, and that could be a good spot to try and grab him. I mean, I don't think he drops all the way to the fourth, but the third round that would be a good spot to grab him. But
For sure.
continuing on to, I'm sorry.
Aleem McNeil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I thought you were gonna say something else. Yeah, but yeah, Aleem McNeil. That's a guy who I believe Joel also wanted to add on.
No, I discovered Aleem McNeil fairly recently, and
Yeah.
I've kind of fallen in love with him as a prospect. He's solidly in B for me. Um, he's got good explosiveness and power. He's an absolute space eater, like what I was talking about earlier. What I'm looking for in a defensive tackle. He doesn't get fooled like Barmore. Um, Good athlete. He's got a little bit of stubby arms, but somehow he manages to still occupy that space really well without having to do that. A player that he reminds me a lot of is a Dontari Poe. He's similar in size. He could add a little bit more weight if he's really going to achieve Dontari Poe, but he's close.
No. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he's got slow diagnosis on occasion. He has the tendency to kind of sit there and wait, which is a little bit of a fear, which is why he's in B. If that was not the case, I would throw him up in A easy. Uh, Projects best as a one tech and a 4-3. But the cool thing about him is he can be a nose tackle in like a 3-4 scheme. So
Okay.
for teams
Okay.
that are running variants all the time, excellent positional flexibility. He's going to find his way to be on the field all the time. Uh, but as far as landing spots, Dallas in the second round would make a lot of sense. They've been looking for a defensive tackle like him for a very, very long time. And Tyrone Crawford just recovered. They need retired. They need some more defensive tackle help. Or the Saints in the second. They just had to let go both of their starting defensive tackles. And he could immediately plug in and start for them.
No, 100%. I 100% agree. The team that so I'm so it's weird. So we differ on where we ranked everybody, but the order is this. I basically put everybody in B. I feel like everyone is. I feel like the defensive line is a. We have a very solid defensive line group this year. It's
but
all of
it's
them are very
lukewarm.
solid,
Yeah.
which is why it was hard for me to put any of them below B in my opinion, because I could see all of them going in the second or third round. So it was very hard to put for me to put any of them into C. But again, there was only really one that stood out above the rest, and that was Quiti Pay, in my opinion. I mean, I love Levi. I love Aleem. I love the other two guys. I think they need a good bit more work. But I think Aleem could be, that diamond in the rough. And like the actual team that I would actually really want to grab him. I've been saying him this entire time.
Well,
He's
not
actually
Baltimore
the one that
again.
I would love to see the Ravens take a chance on if they take a chance on a defensive lineman versus an edge rusher later,
Someone's
or
leaning
maybe they
towards
pick an edge
Baltimore as
rusher
his
and a
favorite team.
lineman, huh?
Someone's leaning towards Baltimore as their favorite team.
No, no, I wasn't. So I was trying to say that I could see any of these prospects go to Baltimore because they have been that machine. But I feel like out of all of these, I feel like the Ravens are. I don't know if they will, but I would like to see them out of all of these defensive talents. I would like to see them try and grab Liam McNeil because I think he will be available in the third round, and I think that's where they need to pick a defensive talent like any of these guys who are prospects because they have a great defense. They don't need. I mean, they need an edge rusher, and they need somebody to fill in Judon's shoes. But realistically, they don't need it like they need wide receivers. They don't need it like they need depth at linemen. You know,
No, I
so
get it. I get what you're saying.
but I really do actually feel like Aleem McNeil could be a great pickup for the Ravens because he is just that diamond in the rough. Because I think he could be the most special out of all of these people in my B tier. But he needs polishing, and a team like the Ravens could do that. I mean, again, a team like the Steelers, the Bears, any of the great defensive talented minds. I mean, look at Dan Quinn in Dallas. Could definitely do that with any of these guys. 100%. I think that this is almost a testament to how strongly solid this defensive core is. I guess you could say like the defensive lineman for this 2021 draft is. Um, but yeah, so that is going to be our defensive lineman. Uh, Let us know if you liked or didn't like any of our tier lists in the comments. But yeah, that is going to be um
Everything for this week.
yeah that's yeah
We
that's
had a
that's
full
everything.
week this week. That was a lot longer than I think either me or Lee intended, but it was a
Yeah,
lot
and
of fun.
I think it was because of the O lineman. I think it was a
I
lot to
shook
go
you.
through. It was a lot to go through. But
No, that's true.
anyone that stayed and watched it all, thank you very much for watching all of this. If you're just watching the shorter clips that I'm going to make, thank you for watching those as well. Um, Please, we would love to know uh, your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe, do all that good YouTube algorithm stuff. Um, and look forward to next week when we do talk about edge rushers and linebackers. And we're also going to be talking about the NFC and AFC West. Finally, the last teams that we need to talk about before the draft comes up. But until then, we are signing off. This is Two Nerd Sportscast. I'm Lee.
And I'm Joel, and we'll see you next week.